Good afternoon, this is Nicholas from Gandor Gaming, and I am here to discuss a brand new card of OP08 that I've been play testing on the simulator for the last couple of days. That being the brand new Whitebeard's Pirate card, Jozu. This is a brand new blue card coming out of OP08, and I'm super excited because I think it has some potential in not only the new Marco deck, but also just all blue decks in general. I think this card's actually very slept on and might just be a new blue staple going forward. I'm going to go over what it does and its stats because it's actually pretty solid. So this is a new level 6 Whitebeard's Pirate monster. It has 1,000 counter, it has 7,000 attack, and it's a strike character. And basically the reason why you play him is his on play effect. On play, you may return one of your characters other than his card to hand, and then you're going to return one cost 6 or lower character to the original owner's hand. Now, the reason why that kind of sounds insane is because basically this has a lot of cool applications of not only removing your opponent's problematic monsters, but also bouncing back important monsters you control in order to either reuse them or just use them as counter. So let's actually go over the applications this card has in Blue Dolphy, because that's the deck I play, and I've been testing it out in Blue Dolphy, and I've been having some really cool results. So what are the applications in Blue Dolphy? Well, first things first, because it's a 6 cost 7k, this is pretty solid because our max biggest monster, if we're playing the Gecko Moria guy, is the well, we're not talking about the higher cost, like 8 to 9 to 10 cost characters. We're just talking about the lower cost characters. Most characters we have, their max attack is 5k. So the fact that this guy's a 7k 6 cost is already pretty solid. He's already dealing some damage, if that makes any sense. Your opponent's going to discard 2 cards to protect themselves from a Jozu, which is pretty nice. The next thing that I really like about him is that he kind of on play just gets rid of a blocker. If your opponent's walling up behind like a what's it called, a Sabo, this card just just gets rid of it. It's like, oh, you have a Sabo on field that's making you unkillable. Well, I can just play this guy, bounce back one of my monsters that already swung this turn, and then just bounce back your blocker, which is pretty solid. The other thing I really like about this card, it also just gets your good cards back to hand. You can have a Perona from like an earlier turn or like this turn, play a Jozu, bounce back the Perona back to hand, and then replay the Perona, which is pretty solid. One of the things I like to do on a simulator is that if I Perona like turn 1, by the time I get to turn 10, I can summon out a Jozu, bounce back one of my opponent's monsters, bounce back the Perona, replay the Perona, stack my top 5 cards, and then I'll still have 3 Dawn left over to do Dolphy's effect, and then summon a character from the top of my deck and know the correct order for my next 2 or 3 turns, because Dolphy kind of skips a couple turns, which is pretty insane. Another reason why I really like Jozu is that he also has synergies with other blue cards. One of the cards I was thinking about was Jimbei. You can summon Jimbei not only off Dolphy's effect, but just by like hard summoning Jimbei, but then use Jozu to put him back to hand. For example, you can attack with Dolphy, summon on Jimbei. Jimbei can play a Seven Lords of 4 less cost from your hand. Then, because you use Dolphy's effect, he'll be in rested position. You can just play the Jozu, bounce back your Jimbei, so you can use them again for the next turn, and bounce back your opponent's monster, which is pretty solid. There's also some applications of pudding as well, because you can pudding someone early in the game, and then yes, they may get some like big hand size later in the duel, but that doesn't matter because you can just bounce back your pudding back to hand and replay it, which is pretty insane. Same thing goes for blockers too. If you play a Don Quixote Dolflamingo on an earlier turn, you can put 1 Dawn on him, swing, then play a Jozu, bounce back to Don Quixote blocker, and then replay him. So he's still upright and blocking, which is pretty awesome. Another application was with Gecko Moria. You can like play Gecko Moria either on a previous turn or off your Dolphy ability, then use Jozu to bounce him back to hand to then replay him, which is pretty insane. So you get 2 back add backs, which is awesome. I think there's just some really, really good applications for this leader ultimately, and I really want to see where it goes from here. But that's really about it. I really hope you all enjoy. It's not just Blue Dolphy. Every blue deck would love to bounce back one of their lower cost characters and then bounce back one of our opponent's issues, which is pretty solid ultimately. I really do think this card has huge potential. Another thing that I noticed is that, like, let's say you have Crocodile, the 2K blocker. Oh, he's not a 2K blocker, he's a 2K counter card. But you could, like, summon him off your opponent's off your effect, then bounce him back to hand with Jozu, bounce your opponent's card back to hand, and now you have a free 2K in hand, and they're stuck with whatever card they wasted a whole turn playing. I think this is just a really, really good card, and I can definitely see this as a good 3 of, the 4 of, the 2 of going forward. Anyway, that's all. I hope you all enjoy. I can't wait to test this out some more on the simulator. See y'all next one, and bye-bye.